So if you're getting older in jiu-jitsu, you need to know a few things in order to stay healthier so that you can keep up with the younger folks in jiu-jitsu. Hey guys, it's Dr. Josh. I'm a sports chiropractor and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Andre Galvão. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to stay healthy in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu, especially as you age. You know, as you train Jiu-Jitsu longer and longer, you could kind of reminisce and say, hey, I came from here and I'm going to here, right? So as you get older and you go up in rank, you also get older and you slow down. And I can tell you straight up, as an ex-wrestler and a blue belt and a purple belt, I was extremely fast and extremely athletic, but I can bet you right now, I am not nearly as athletic as I once was. And by the time you're actually watching this, I'm probably closing in on the age of 40. So staying up to date with younger folks is really a lot harder than it used to be. And old man jiu-jitsu is sometimes or can be a real thing. So old man jiu-jitsu is essentially saying as you age, you are getting older in the sport of jiu-jitsu. And if you think about professional athletics and all the patients I see when it comes to professional athletes that I treat, most of them are under the age of 35. So if you're over the age of 35, maybe you have a family, you have a full-time job, you can't make it 4 or 5 times a week, that is kind of like an old man jiu-jitsu. You know, the average old man in jiu-jitsu is somebody who basically is, you know, over a certain age, and in this case we're defining older age as 35 to 40 possibly. Maybe they have family at home, they work a full-time job, they don't compete, and they can only get into jiu-jitsu maybe 2 or 3 times maximum a week, and they do not have the same athletic ability as a younger professional athlete. Now, before I even get started, that does not mean whatsoever that as an older athlete or an older person in jiu-jitsu, you can't keep up with a younger person. It just means that maybe you can't train as often, maybe you can't be as dynamic because your VO2 max, your strength, and all these other factors start to decline as you age, and also your recovery and injuries start to play a factor. So I'm gonna give you a few things that you can do right now to help you stay healthy while aging in jiu-jitsu. So one of the most important things that I recommend all athletes do, especially those that are aging, is to continue on strength training. You should be doing at least 2 times a week, upper and lower, if not maybe doing full body 30 to 40, 50 minutes every single week in order to stay healthy and strong throughout your entire body. Now, we all know that jiu-jitsu is hard on the body, but staying strong is also something that's going to benefit you, not because it's going to get you better at jiu-jitsu, but it's going to get you less injury prone. And so if you're less injury prone and you're stronger, you're going to stay on the mats longer, and you're going to literally help your body recuperate and recover by maintaining muscle mass and maintaining strength so that you can go through jiu-jitsu training effectively. Also, a big thing old man jiu-jitsu you see not only people slow down, but they slow down because of injuries. You know, it is so common for everybody of all walks of life to have injuries, but if you are not recovering from your injuries, or maybe you didn't even address an old injury and it keeps coming back, you really need to take care of that, because it's going to limit your factors of mobility, strength, speed, and all these other factors. Take care of your old injuries and make sure they're solved or resolved before you really ramp up your training. Another factor that you really need to focus on is mobility training. It's no secret, we all age a little bit, we recover a little bit less, and we lose a lot of flexibility. So it's important to do some form of stretching and mobility training. We all know that jiu-jitsu requires a lot of hip mobility, and as we age, we sit a little bit more, we get more arthritis and stuff like that. It's really important to maintain as much hip mobility as possible. In addition, it's really important that we have good thoracic spine mobility and shoulder mobility as well, and it's really important that we focus on full body stretching and mobility routines on a frequent basis, at least once a week, twice a week, possibly even more, or even after our training sessions. A huge factor for jiu-jitsu performance comes in your VO2 max or your cardio essentially. It is very well documented in the science that as we age, we lose our capacity to have better cardio, and that just happens naturally. If you're not doing some sort of cardio outside of jiu-jitsu, you're probably not going to feel as good, and going against a younger, more athletic, faster, and a person who has a higher level of cardio or VO2 max, it's going to be much harder to stay up with them as well. So you should not only be doing some sort of strength training outside of jiu-jitsu, but you should also be doing some sort of cardio as well. And we could talk more about that in the future, but if you're not doing all these three that I just mentioned before, you are becoming an old man jiu-jitsu, and you're going to become an old man jiu-jitsu faster if you don't keep up with these injuries and keep up with the science and the physiology of your body. The final factor that I have to talk to you about is jiu-jitsu performance and understanding jiu-jitsu as a whole. We all understand that if you're going against a more athletic opponent, they're younger, they're faster, they're stronger, maybe you're a higher rank than them, it doesn't necessarily matter. You just need to know when you need to say no to a roll, when you need to say yes to a roll, and you need to learn technique enough that you can slow down the race, but you also need to be doing things that you need to do to speed up the race. Meaning, can you do high ballistic plyometric training? We understand as we lose our VO2 max, we lose some strength. We also need to maintain some form of level where we are staying athletic in our own senses. We can't just be married to jiu-jitsu. We can't just be married to weightlifting and, as I just mentioned, mobility training. We need to do also dynamic sports, things like jumping and hopping and moving in a different plane. As we age, we tend to do less and less and less, and we become more singularity focused because of our time and our efforts. But it's really important to just be a whole athlete in general, right? Don't lose sight of pure athleticism, and don't lose sight of being an athlete even though you are more married to jiu-jitsu. So these are a few things that you just need to really focus on when it comes to staying healthy as you age while still going against younger jiu-jitsu practitioners. Super important, guys. And if you are somebody who is really dealing with an injury, please reach out to us, comment below, and make sure you download our free lower back pain guide. That will really, really help you, especially if you're somebody who's dealing with an old injury, especially if it's a disc injury or a lower back injury. We can really help you with that. So please reach out to us, and I will see you guys on the mats. I'm looking forward to keeping you healthy. Us.